Good morning, everyone. This is Alcohols Chapter Lecture 3. Today is 31st May, morning, 6 o'clock. We are supposed to start, but we are starting at 6:30. And I'll give you some self-assessment questions today. Before that, let me tell you, I made 3 mistakes. I had the opportunity to browse through my own recordings. I found I had committed 3 mistakes. Others, very common, silly mistakes every student can understand. In some pentan 1-all or hexan 1-all, I am saying 1-all but not writing 1-all. So that is understandable. But here, geraniums is a different kind of plant. The flowers are different. Rose is a different kind of plant, and the rose flower is different. So this geraniol is present in both rose plant, roses extracted from roses, and geraniums. This is a different kind, looking like rose, but it's not rose. Rose is something unique. Mostly geraniums, I was looking the geraniums in internet. It was quite colored, particularly it is red. So that mistake I did, and I didn't show you what is the main component of clove oil, that is long cut tail. This, because it was phenolic compound, I skipped over, because we will be talking about phenolic compound, but we may not come to the same slide from the Klein book. This is eugenol, which is a phenolic compound, substituted phenolic compound, and that is used in perfumes, clove oil. So, and the other mistake I found, particularly the credit will go to Khan Saab. So he deserves the entire credit. Yesterday I told that if I can annotate here, I can annotate here. I can annotate here. I'm sorry. What is? Okay. Yes, when it is a zigzag line formula, and you are asked to find the configuration R and S, then this is not the same as the flying waves formula we talked about. There, the two bonds lying on the plane are used, one vertically and one slanting wise, and the other two, the one lying above the plane and the other below the plane, they are shown like this, or either on the left or on the right. But here this is different. You cannot, he immediately, when the class was over, he changed it to, I said, you can convert this to your flying waves formula, you will get the same thing. But he did, but he found S. Then I realized, no, the way to assign R and S configuration in line structure, this is zigzag line structure, the carbon-carbon bonds are in all trans conformation. And for that, you simply apply the rule, either the normal CIP rule or the golden rule. For example, here is H and here is OH. So these are all carbon skeleton, zigzag carbon skeleton. So then hydrogen is lying below the plane, and you start rotating your eyes from number one. Supposing here there is a chlorine here, so this carbon bearing group has a priority, second priority, 1 to 2 to 3 anticlockwise, and is normal rule, that is S. And if hydrogen is present here, supposing hydrogen is present here, uh, what is the pain? I'm not getting, uh, I'm getting all this, but I'm not getting the pain. Ah, line width. Okay, but where is pain? Spotlight, stamp, draw, text, mouse. So what is all drawings? Undo. Anyone who can teach me what is the pain I'm missing out when I'm using the eraser? Again, I will use, okay, no worries. And supposing hydrogen, the least priority group is lying above the plane, then you have to use the opposite rule to find or to draw, to assign the configuration, right? So that is not the same. I explained to him, then he understood that I also realized my mistake, that this cannot be equated or to be thought as equal to assigning configuration in a zigzag all trans conformation. So there you simply rotate above the plane, because all the carbon atoms are lying horizontally. You know this, they are extended horizontally, not like this. So you cannot have projection similar to this. So now this is the second mistake I committed. So let me go out of this and give you some SAQs. In fact, I was annotating here. Okay. Uh, Now I have to erase, clear all drawings. Okay. Then only I'll be able to write. So let me give you some SAQs, because that is for me should not be important as our uh, my recent findings tell me that these are time wasting processes, these SAQs. I should not indulge myself in this, but still I am habitually constrained to do that. Done. Now let us finish this. Only A, B. No one else. Susovan. Sandhya Deepa. Now, the rest, have a look. Ester can be reduced because this is a symmetrical compound. It would have given two alcohols, two different alcohols. But here, this part will be ethanol, this part will be also ethanol. So the only compound that will be produced is ethanol. Otherwise, there would have been two alcohols. This part is always a primary alcohol and this part is variable. But here, it will be only one alcohol. Then PCl3 will give you the corresponding alkyl halide. And this will give you the corresponding Grignard reagent. And Grignard reagent with a aldehyde other than formaldehyde will produce a secondary alcohol. Yesterday we have seen that this negative alkyl carbanion joins here to the carbonyl carbon and the MgBr joins here, and once you hydrolyze it, you get start from this skeleton that will give you the correct result. I mean, it will not lead you to any incorrect result. So CH, then this becomes OH after hydrolysis, and this part hangs down here. You do that, and this remains as H. This remains as H. So you got a secondary alcohol. This is very important that any Grignard reagent with any aldehyde will give you, other than formaldehyde, will give you the secondary alcohol. And here, since it is a ketone, that reacts with the Grignard reagent to form a tertiary alcohol. So A is tertiary butyl alcohol. CH3 will hang out here, hang down, not hang out. Then it will be OH, the tertiary butyl alcohol, and A. And then either sodium metal or sodium hydride, or I missed out another one, sodamide also will do. Sodamide. You just write down in that copy NaNH2, because amide ion is also a stronger base than alkoxide ion. Not only hydride ion, which is the strongest base. Not only hydride ion, not only metals, active metals like sodium, potassium, lithium, but also amide ion, NH2 minus, can serve the purpose. So usually we take metals, sodium, lithium, or hydride. But less commonly we take amide, sodamide to do the same thing to get sodium. And so B is the sodium salt, sodium alkoxide. Right? Let me go to the next phase. Be faster. Supposing I'll give this one. To help you, answer correctly, with proper stereochemistry in the hydroboration oxidation step, please don't mind when I enter into hardcore mechanism discussion, I will definitely not deviate from what I have not taught you. I will restrict myself to those which I have already taught you. If you cannot revise and you cannot understand a particular portion, please don't mind. Allow others who are serious, becoming serious day by day, to take the benefit. You remain calm, it's obvious. Then hydrogen peroxide, OH minus, giving A. And then we have not studied any other property than, so I can't give any. Oh yeah, of course, we can have, here there will be, say we can write PCl5, B, and we prepare the Grignard reagent. And this time, let us not make it more complicated to treat it with formaldehyde and hydrolysis. Maybe acidic or is simply water can do the job. So D. So I need the stereochemistry of A because I have given a particular stereochemistry. This is stereospecific reaction. I told you there is a syn addition. It is anti-Markovnik of alcohol, no doubt. Anti-Markovnik of alcohol. OH will be landing on the carbon bearing more number of hydrogen atom, H on the other side, but from the same site. So it will produce either RRSS pair or RSSR. I can't tell you what is that unless you assign the configuration. I'm not asking that. I'm asking this. I think Adi, you raised your hand. No, koi baat nahi. Dekho. You know, OH, H. I told you that this is virtually addition of water in an anti-Markovnikov way. The OH minus will be joining carbon bearing more number of hydrogen, and hydrogen obviously carbon bearing less number of hydrogen. But the stereochemistry is syn addition, no rearrangement. So one of the products I am writing, the other product also is the other enantiomer. This is one, and the other one, when both will be raised from below, both will be, you know, ascending from below, same side. This and the other one is this. I am not writing its enantiomer, right? So this is A, I wanted this. And then PCl5 will change this. Then there is no need, you know, make it straight, CH3, CH2, then CH, then CH3, then CH, CH3, OH. Since this will be Cl. CH3, CH2, CH. CH is bonded to CH3. CH is bonded to CH3 and the main chain is here. CH. That is again bonded to CH3. And this CH is bonded to OH. OH. And that on PCl5 will produce B. So B is the corresponding chloride. And C is the corresponding Grignard reagent. I'm changing here. One of my teachers was, you know, teaching us very, very complicated molecules, biomolecules like like cholesterol, like alkaloids, steroids. These are very complicated molecules having more than one ring, multiple rings. So, and the preparation, the synthesis from that. So he was just writing a structure And then next step, rubbing off in the board. At that time there was no whiteboard even. So rubbing off and then putting the other group so fast that we are not able to write anything at all. So we had decided to just throw the pains and just try to understand at least. So that I'm doing here. So this will be converted to a Grignard reagent, and then with formaldehyde, I told you that the entire bulk will be joining here to make it a primary alcohol. So everything I'm writing, correcting this again, no space. So this will become ultimately CH2OH, because this portion was the alkyl part. This is the secondary carbon. So that entire, this connection should be to this carbon. So it will be CH2OH. Okay, so we'll be doing, and today I shall be giving a lot of, because yesterday I spent a lot of time and editing work. Today I'll be sending you a lot of self-assessment questions from alcohols. Of course, when I say alcohols, it will have definitely connections with haloalkanes and other things, alkenes and all that. So let us again come back to the properties of alcohols continued. Write down the point. Alcohol the amphoteric nature of alcohol. Able to find the point. The amphoteric nature of alcohol. We have discussed the acidic properties of alcohols, and today we shall be starting our work from the amphoteric nature. So it's a Bronsted base because it has a lone pair. I'm sorry, this is it has a capacity to accept proton and be protonated. I'm showing you the examples every time. So any species which can accept a proton is a Bronsted base, and hence alcohol is a Bronsted base. And it is already discussed that it is also a Bronsted acid. And we already have written the acid dissociation, however small it may be, it can lose a proton and becomes alkoxide ion. And its concentration is so small, it will detect, escape the detection by litmus. Litmus cannot reveal its acidic property, but it has. Immediately you get effervescence with sodium, just like other acids, they produce hydrogen gas with sodium metal, lithium metal, hydride, metallic hydride. Same thing happens here. And the pK value is very low, in the vicinity of 16, say 10 to, it varies for different alcohols from 10 to 18. So in the vicinity of 16 is very, very high because the acid strength is very low. So we have seen that it can be a Bronsted base, it can be a Bronsted acid. This we have discussed extensively last time. Now Lewis. It is a Lewis base. What is Lewis base? Any substance which can donate a lone pair. Obviously, it has a lone pair. And you know, all Bronsted bases are also Lewis bases. The same lone pair is responsible to accept a proton and responsible to donate to some electrophilic center or an electrophile. So we were discussing like same H plus, say for example, even ZnCl2, this is a Lewis acid and this is a Lewis base. So yesterday we found that there is a Lewis acid Lewis base reaction, and this is a dative bond, and there will be a formal negative charge on zinc. So this can be used as a Lewis base and also a Lewis acid. This Lewis base means nucleophile. Just write down. And it is also a Lewis acid. How it can act as a Lewis acid? See here, it's very interesting. Now, say carbon is bonded to O and H. Because oxygen is highly electronegative, higher than carbon, higher than hydrogen, so it is having minus delta charge, and both the hydrogen atom and carbon atom, they are carrying plus delta charge. Therefore, the two are electrophilic centers. So alcohols have two electrophilic centers, one hydrogen center that is electron deficient, and the carbon center which is also electron deficient. So don't worry, I will go to the next page after my estimation how long you are supposed to take to write these things. So you can volunteer. I will not waste time. Now see, I am showing you how it will act as an electrophile in two examples. Supposing I take hydrogen. So when hydrogen is acting as an electrophile, yesterday we found that hydride ion or amide ion attacks here, this electrophilic center. So you get a salt of alcohol, that is alkoxide ion. I'm not showing the lone pairs, and it becomes hydrogen gas. So also when you have amide ion, I was telling before some time that you can also take sodamide. So that being a stronger base than alkoxide ion, it will attack the electrophilic center and this bond will break. So you get ammonia, not hydrogen gas in this case, but the product is alkoxide ion. And sodium ion is there to remain as a partner with alkoxide ion. And the second one where the carbon is an electrophile. So I'm showing here this plus delta. This can be attacked, but you know that OH minus ion is a poor leaving group. So when you take a protonated alcohol, already you have mixed with some acid or any Lewis base like zinc chloride or acid. So it is already protonated. So here the electrophilicity of carbon atom is enhanced. Because this plus will attract this shared pair more towards itself, and it will develop a greater magnitude of the fractional positive charge. So it can be attacked by any nucleophile, OH minus, or why OH minus? Because already OH minus is there. No, Cn minus or Cl minus or I minus. So any nucleophile will be very happy to attack the carbon center, which is electrophilic center, and a very good living group, water, which is a weak base, will be produced. So we have seen that alcohol can be electrophile at two centers. One is the hydrogen center, the other one is the carbon center. So it acts as an electrophile in two centers. I showed the hydrogen center will be attacked when there is a stronger base than alkoxide ion. Since even alkyne is a weaker acid than alcohol. So even alkynide ion is a stronger base than alkoxide ion. So even you take sodium alkynide, treat it with alcohol, and we have studied even Grignard reagent. I'm saying you, so practically, if you take, say, with an alcohol, or tell me the authenticity of this reaction. I'm going to the next page, and just after leaving some time. So this is very analytical unless you study all these analytically. So it will be a stereotyped, and study will be almost very impractical. I mean, very mechanical. So let's go to the next page where I will show you here that what I was saying is I forgot what I was saying. Yes, I remember. So you can use alkynide ion. Supposing you have alcohol and you want to treat it with sodium alkynide. Whether this displacement, nucleophilic displacement, these are all SN reaction. Nucleophilic displacement is possible. Here is the electrophilic center. So this will attack here, and there will be breaking of the OH bond, and then you get alkoxide ion plus this becomes alkyne. And of course, sodium ion will be friend to alkoxide ion. So this is possible or not possible will be known if you compare either the acid strength of this and acid strength of this, or the base strength of alkynide ion and the base strength of alkoxide ion. In either way, you can prove the authenticity or the possibility of the reaction. Alcohol is definitely a stronger acid than alkyne. In the hierarchy, in the order, alcohol, then alkyne, then ammonia, then alkene, water, then alcohol, then ammonia, and all these things. So alcohol, then alkyne, then ammonia. After alkyne, there is ammonia. Ammonia is still less acidic. I'm talking acidic once again. So even this is possible with a Grignard reagent like, R-MgX or the Gilman reagent, where the alkyl group has a carbanionic character, minus delta character will be ultimately turning into a carbanion. That will be there, and this will attack the electrophilic center to produce this one, right? And we have already done this in the connection with the preparation of alkanes from Grignard reagent. Any Grignard reagent reacts with any acidic compound, may it be alcohol, may it be even ammonia, may it be alkyne, may it be carboxylic acid. So that which is a stronger acid than the alkane, because alkane will be produced. So all are stronger acids. Instead of taking the relative base strength, it is always easier to talk about relative acid strength. Alcohol is stronger than alkane. Carboxylic acid is stronger than alkane. Alkyne is stronger than alkane. Ammonia is stronger than alkane. So any acid, therefore I told you that hydrogen bonded to nitrogen or halogens or oxygen all have good enough acidic property to provide the H plus ion to the carbanion Grignard reagent and produce the alkane. Now, after this, let us make a summary, conclusion. Hopefully, you have written this. Hopefully, you have written this and this. Be very alert, because I'll be taking pace because you are in second year, class 12. I should treat you like a second year student, right? Very good. So let us make a conclusion what we understood here. When alcohol reacts, acts as a nucleophile, the consequence, the CO bond breaks in the next step. In the subsequent step, I'm showing you, don't worry at all. When alcohol acts as a nucleophile, I showed you, I just take you to that page where I showed you it acts as a nucleophile here. Either zinc chloride or proton. The proton example we have given here also, you can write once again proton. Proton is also a electrophile, and this is a nucleophile. Not only zinc chloride, but also you have protonated this one. So whenever alcohol acts as a nucleophile, then the consequence just after that, you remember, in the mechanism, CO bond has to break. I'll give you concrete example. CO bond breaks in the next step. For example, you have alcohol, right? You are treating with a Lewis acid to give a protonated alcohol in the first state, so that the electrophilic center will be more pronounced. This was plus delta, no doubt, but it will be more pronounced here because the adjacent position there is a plus charge. There is a pronounced plus delta charge here because this is protonated. And therefore, this has acted as a nucleophile. The alcohol here acts as a nucleophile, as a Lewis base. I am not going to repeat Lewis base, because in organic chemistry, Lewis base is replaced by a term called nucleophile. So whenever alcohol acts as a nucleophile, the next step, the breakage the cleavage of the CO bond is a must. I will show you how. Let me start this process. So, what I was saying is the moment or the reaction in which alcohol acts as a nucleophile, like this. The next step is the breaking of the CO bond, right? So, let me not show here. Yes, in a different color, I can show that. This is plus delta. Now, whether it is SN1 or SN2, supposing you go via SN1 track, so water is eliminated, the Liebig group goes in the first rate determining step to produce carbocation. If it is in the SN2 track, then in the same step, the nucleophile attacks. So whatever may be the case, whether it is you get, I'm not bothered about the product. Here, I could not get the final product. There is one more step of adding nucleophile. But here, since it is SN2, a one-step process, I got, the final product in version of configuration plus water. In both the cases, water is the Liebig group, but in SN1, that is a two-step process. Water leaves in the first step, rate determining step, and then nucleophile attacks. But in SN2, both occur simultaneously, right? So you will find, just remember this point, that whenever an alcohol acts as a nucleophile, I am again saying nucleophile, only one way, that the lone pair on oxygen will be donated to some electrophile. Then the next step will be the cleavage of the CO bond. Whether it is, ZnCl2, had it been ZnCl2 SuSO1, then also this will be plus, and then this is ZnCl2 minus, then also this bond will break. The other shape, for example, OH minus something will remove this H plus, and this will break. Just like we saw that in Lucas test, for 3 degree alcohol, the mechanism is SN1, but for both 1 degree and 2 degree, it is SN2. The bond breaks, that CO bond. The O, which is holding zinc now, breaks, the CO bond breaks in the same single step in SN2 for 1 degree and 2 degree. Intrinsically, I forgot to tell you that intrinsically, SN2 rate is slower than SN1 rate. Rate-wise, even it is thermodynamically is favorable to the same extent, kinetically, it is not. While thermodynamics talks about the enthalpy change, the entropy change, and the free energy change, and the kinetics, which we have not started, chemical kinetics, it only takes into account this mountain, the hill activation energy. So they are completely different. So what I was saying, intrinsically SN2 rate is slower than SN1. And moreover, as I was saying, that even if it is in the first step, sometimes some disparity in the attack and departure. It's not exactly the same with the same polarity. Some different polarity, for example, the breaking of the formation of the new bond with the nucleophile is not as intense as the breaking of the CX bond. if there will be some carbocationic character, and then the bond breaking and bond making will occur in a disproportionate manner. In that case also, the relative SN2 rate is more for 2 degree alcohols than 1 degree. Right? So therefore, in 5 minutes, you get a white turbidity at room temperature for 2 degree alcohols, and for 1 degree alcohol, you won't get any white turbidity at room temperature. You have to boil. So the rate is the slowest, almost negligible at room temperature. Now, next step is second. Whenever it acts as a electrophile, when ROH acts as an electrophile, then the consequence in the next step is, in both the cases, as we have seen, as a carbon electrophilic center or hydrogen electrophilic center, then the OH bond breaks. That is, CO bond breaks. Here, OH bond breaks. Now I'll show you how. Now, supposing this is the hydrogen electrophilic center, and alcohol is acting as an electrophile here, using its hydrogen pace as an electrophile, and some nucleophile is attacking. May it be alkyl carbanion, may it be alkynide ion, may it be amide ion, may it be hydride ion, whatever. So when it is attacking, obviously the OH bond has to, when it will act as an electrophile, then there in the other case, I have taken deliberately protonated alcohol acts as an electrophile. Although theoretically, even neutral alcohol, carbon is electrophilic center, but because OH minus ion is a strong base, it's a very poor leaving group. So it doesn't go to the forward, it doesn't favor the forward reaction. But once you protonate it, develop plus charge on oxygen, it enhances the electrophilicity of alcohol. And then it acts as a real electrophile. And then CO bond has to break. But here, the OH bond will break in this case. So this will be producing the alkoxide ion, and this R minus and H plus, ultimately it will leave as H plus, and it will become RH and alkoxide ion. But oh, I'm so sorry. Here, I have to review what I said. This one, when acts as a nucleophile, that means this is the nucleophile. The next step, I wrote the next step. I'm not saying that this acts as is a nucleophile here. Clearly, here the neutral alcohol is acting as a nucleophile, but here the protonated alcohol is acting as an electrophile. I am not saying, whenever I am saying that neutral alcohol is acting as a nucleophile, then the next step is the breaking of CO bond, the next step. But here what I am saying, that when, yes, it is already done, when it is acting as an electrophile, in the same step, the OH bond breaks in the same step. This happens only when this is hydrogen part is used as electrophile. But if the carbon part is used, it's never used because the OH minus group is a poor leaving group. It is never used. But once you protonate it, then it acts as a potential electrophile, nucleophile attacks. In that case, CO bond breaks. If that comes in the next step of alcohol acting as a nucleophile. So I won't repeat that. I only say when hydrogen part is used as a electrophile, then in the same step, OH bond has to break. Make it very, very clear, because you will be applying in all mechanisms. Whenever ROH acts as a nucleophile, the neutral alcohol is acting as a nucleophile. In the next step, CO bond is broken. Of course, next step means when it is attacked by another nucleophile. In this step, the protonated alcohol is acting as an electrophile. But here, the neutral alcohol is acting as a nucleophile. But this can also theoretically act as an electrophile, the carbon center, but practically it doesn't. Because OH minus ion is a poor leaving group, that is why. Okay. Then after this, let us review what we did. Just go back to the page where you have written a reaction with active metals and sodium hydride. Or now we added sodamide, active metals, the acidic under acidic property. Now tell me, this is a breakage of OH bond or it is a breakage of CO bond. For every reaction, you have to write. There are two possible reactions in alcohol chemistry: breaking of OH bond, breaking of CO bond. So in every reaction, you have to mention in between bracket is breaking of OH bond. Alcohol, taking up neutral alcohol. I'm not saying protonated alcohol. Taking neutral alcohol, what happens when it reacts with sodium, or it reacts with hydride ion, or it reacts with NH2 minus ion? Definitely, in between bracket, write down now breaking of OH bond. Breaking of OH bond. So it is acting as a Bronsted acid and also as a Lewis acid or electrophile. Hydrogen center is the electrophile, and it is acted upon by a Lewis base, which will produce the electron. So this will come out as a hydrogen atom, and two such hydrogen atoms will combine, so that will be 2Na to this, so you get hydrogen molecule fly with its wing. Hydride ion will simply make it hydrogen gas. So amide ion will make it ammonia. So, but here we need two sodium atoms to get you two alkoxide ions and 2Na plus H2 gas, right? I'm writing the, so the OH bond breaking, so just write in between bracket there, breaking of OH bond. Only one point we have done. Today, we shall be taking 2-3 more points where we shall see there is a breaking of CO bond. No. And then the next reaction with HX. Tell me, reaction with HX is what? We have done Lucas test and also done in general addition of OH supposing with HBr, and then we are writing like this. But actually, it is a breaking of which bond? It is breaking of OH bond or CO bond, because as you know, this is going via the most cases it is going via SN1, unless it is zinc chloride. In mere acids, HBr, HI, HCl reacts slow in simple acid medium, that is HCl itself. Zinc chloride is supporting catalyst. But in HBr and HI, the stronger acids, though, they act as such. So in that case, the first step is the preparation of electrophile. This acts as a nucleophile in the first step to get the electrophilic center. Alcohol as such has no real power to act as an electrophile, because carbon, though having plus delta charge, because the livability of OH minus is very, very poor. So we prepare a very strong electrophilic center here, a strong plus delta, and then ultimately what happens, either SN1 or SN2 doesn't matter, this bond has to break. Nucleophile will join, say Br minus, say here the nucleophile is Br minus or I minus, whatever, will join either in the same step, that is SN2, if it is ethyl alcohol and methyl alcohol. In all other cases, there is a possibility of in other 1 degree alcohol, both SN1 and SN2, because there is rearrangement. But in 2 degree and 3 degree, unless it is zinc chloride, 2 degree also will go via the SN1 track, and if possible there will be rearrangement. Will do a lot of problems we did in alkene chapter, and we will be also revising such problems in alcohols. Now this plus water, so write down in between bracket, in that heading below that is the reaction of breaking of CO bond over SS. So you have to mention now onwards, in every reaction you have to mention whether it is the breaking of OH bond or CO bond. In this case, whether it is acting as an electrophile or a nucleophile. Here the neutral alcohol is acting as a nucleophile because it is reacting with the electrophile. But here the protonated alcohol is acting as an electrophile. We don't bother about protonated alcohol, but we say that the next step, we said when this acts as a nucleophile, the next step is the breaking of the CO bond. That has happened here in the SN1, SN2 method. CO bond is broken, right? Now, just to remind you what will happen in this case, supposing we have an, I'm sorry, yes, okay. Tell me what will be the major product here, because a 2 degree carbocation will be definitely formed, but in the adjacent carbon there is a methyl or hydride. Supposing there is one methyl, other one is hydrogen, then there will be a hydride shift for promoting the less stable 2 degree carbocation into a 3 degree carbocation, and then Br minus will be joining there to form the product. So what will be the major product? Yes. Now, I'm so sorry that none, let me try. I told you that I will be focusing on those who will keep interest in higher level thinking exercise, because as I'm advised by my advisors that you do not change your strategy that you have been doing, and you are really stooping more and more down compared to what you were doing before, because you want more number of students. Head counting is important for you. That is why there is an allegation, a very severe allegation against me. So I have to revert back to my old way, irrespective of the consequence, the outcome of this new strategy. So for that, you have to be very, very focused. Now, first, Mitra Babu.
Sir, 1-bromo, 1,2 dimethyl cyclopentane.
Precisely, this is the major product. There will be a methyl shift. And as you go for the mechanism, this alcohol acts as a nucleophile in the first step to react with H plus, that is the electrophile provided by this acid, to produce a protonated alcohol. I write like this, OH2 plus. OH2, not bond. Don't show the bond. If you show the bond, then all the two bonds. OH2 plus. And then it will, since 2-degree carbocation really has a life, so it does form. This is a 2-degree carbocation, and the carbocations are very prone to rearrangement. So had it been a hydrogen also, there would have been a hydride shift. Here there is a methyl shift, and you get this compound. The carbocation now is 3-degree. As elevated its position, now methyl is joined here, and ultimately the bromide ion is waiting for its turn, and it joins here to produce the compound that Mr. Mitra has answered correctly. Similar type of problems I will be giving in large numbers. We had done where there is a ring expansion, where alcohol will be staying externally, so that there is a room for the expansion of ring from 5 to 6. 6-membered ring is more stable than 5. 4-membered ring is much less stable than 5. So just do this one once again. What will happen to the major product when this is treated with, say, HCl? Let us forget about zinc chloride. In many experiments, we simply take HCl. And a Lucas test for a better, better clarity of the cloud. I mean, this turbidity, precipitate, turbidity. Turbidity means it's not a clear-cut settling down of the precipitate, but it will be vacillating. It will be floating all around. So that is a turbidity. Becomes turbid, muddy, but white turbidity. So what will happen to this compound? And if this one is the this is cyclopentyl methanol, this is cyclobutyl methanol, HBr, what will be the final compound? You do it at home. Then we go to the next point, number 3. We have seen the reaction of HX. In that particular point, we discussed about Lucas test. And now we see it is a breaking of CO bond. And the acidic property that we had, the reaction with metals, reaction with hydride ion, reaction with amide ion, all these, the breaking of OH bond. Where in the first step, in the same step, OH bond is broken. But the CO bond is broken in the next step when alcohol acts as a nucleophile, right? So I will be repeating again and again. So I will not hesitate to do my duty, but well, let me not repeat. Now this is oxidation of alcohols. This is just the opposite of the reduction of aldehydes and ketones, carboxylic acids and all that. We used I'll give a lot of problems using lithium aluminum hydride, sodium borohydride, and hydrogen nickel, hydrogen palladium, which will hydrogenate the double bond present there. But LaH and sodium borohydride won't touch the carbon-carbon double bond because it will furnish hydride ion. It is a nucleophile, and double bond addition is not nucleophilic, it is electrophilic. So it won't look at a carbon-carbon double bond. It only will look at the electrophilic center present in the carbonyl group, right? And the detailed mechanism of nucleophilic addition we'll be doing in our aldehydes and ketones chapter. I've been telling on this point again and again. So the oxidizing agent used here is chromic acid. Chromic acid is the most acceptable, that is H2CrO4. Chromium is in the +6 state, but how it is obtained? Obtained by adding chromium trioxide, chromium 6 oxide with sulfuric acid in acetone medium, not water medium. This is famously called Jones reagent. Or you can use sodium dichromate or potassium dichromate, sulfuric acid, acetone. In both the cases, you get this chromic acid. But chromic acid is not a very stable compound. You have to prepare in situ by either taking chromium 6 oxide in sulfuric acid and acetone medium, or any sodium dichromate, potassium dichromate, sulfuric. So both of these are called Jones reagent, and they will ultimately produce chromic acid, which will bring about oxidation. Now let's see what happens. What happens when a primary alcohol is oxidized, a secondary alcohol is oxidized, and a tertiary alcohol is oxidized? Over. Say 1 degree alcohol. This is the opposite of an aldehyde reduced to alcohol. The opposite way, if you take a primary alcohol, I'm just deliberately writing like this. This is a 1 degree CS2 alcohol, and you have an oxidizing agent. I'm showing in a very crude format using a nascent oxygen, using the Jones reagent CrO3, H2SO4, acetone, or you can write down potassium dichromate, sulfuric acid, acetone, or simply you can write down chromic acid. Chromic acid is not the actual reagent taken in the laboratory. It's not, it is prepared in situ. Now what happens here, I am showing in a classical format, not mechanism. The mechanism of oxidation won't be discussed now. So this water goes and you get aldehyde. I just make it look better, plus water. So 1 degree alcohol in the first step will produce aldehyde. Just the opposite of the reduction of aldehyde to 1 degree alcohol by using 2 nascent hydrogen. You know, this nascent oxygen, nascent hydrogen concepts are redundant. They have no significance, but still we simplify things, explain things even today using using them. But the oxidation will not be closed. I mean, will not be stopped at this stage. If you slightly delay, then further oxidation will occur. So O will be intruded between carbon and hydrogen. So you will be getting carboxylic acid. This is aldehyde. So always you get aldehyde first, but it is very, very difficult to control the oxidation in the stage of aldehyde. Often you land at carboxylic acid station, but there is a way how to control the oxidation at this stage of aldehyde. Arrest further oxidation. So carboxylic acid can never be produced. That by using a selective oxidizing agent. I'll tell you that later. Over. Then let me tell you the next phase. I'll tell you how to arrest, to stop the oxidation at aldehyde. The following OAs are used. A very, very popular is PCC. This is pyridinium chlorochromate. Pyridinium chlorochromate. PCC. If you write PCC in the examination, 101% you will be understood clearly. Will not be misunderstood at all. So popular. PCC, pyridinium chlorochromate. And there is nothing, the same chromium 6 oxide along with HCl in presence of pyridine, an organic aromatic base, not acetone. Acetone is almost a neutral compound, but pyridine is a distinctly basic compound. So the mechanism is completely different in the way that it cannot extend the oxidation beyond aldehyde. Or the second one is similar, PDC, pyridinium dichromate. It is nothing but sodium dichromate, HCl and pyridine, same. But instead of taking chromium 6 oxide, you are taking a dichromate, pyridinium dichromate, PDC. PCC is very, very popular. Now, what I am saying, I am giving two examples. One in which you say, my favorite alcohol is this, ethanol is subjected to oxidation using Jones reagent. Once you find it is sulfuric acid and acetone, not pyridine, then it is a normal Jones reagent, normal oxidizing agent. It is a chromic acid. Then you have two steps. You cannot arrest unless you are very prompt in distilling out the distillate immediately after the reaction without giving any delay or any room for the aldehyde to further oxidize to carboxylic acids. So obviously the two hydrogen atoms will go to produce first acetaldehyde and then plus water, and then just dose a while, just spend a small length of time, you land at acetic acid. But if you want to get acetaldehyde, so you have to choose PCC or PDC, not the normal Jones reagent. So if you take with PCC, just write PCC, nothing else. Everyone will understand in the world that you are talking about. So this will be stopped at the stage of aldehyde. So now we will take 2-degree alcohol. Done? Okay. 2-degree alcohol, let us make a heading 2-degree alcohol. Just the opposite of, secondary alcohol is produced by reducing a ketone. The opposite is, if you are having a 2-degree alcohol, then you are oxidizing with the same reagent, chromic acid, whether it is CrO3, H2SO4, not PCC. PCC won't solve. PCC is a milder oxidizing agent, because the base pyridine reduces its virulence and acetone. Or you can write sodium dichromate, acetone, sulfuric acid, whatever, but not PCC. Then these two will go, and you get a ketone, and it won't be further oxidized. Aldehyde is very gullible, prone to further oxidation, but not ketones. Ketones will remain as such. So let us take an example. Supposing you are having isopropyl alcohol, which is a secondary alcohol, reacts with Jones reagent. I'm writing simply JR, indicating it's Jones reagent. Then what will be the product? You have to be alert, because I will not be thinking, visualizing any one of your faces unless you are in front of me. you have to concentrate. That will be the strategy henceforth. As long as the online class continues, and also when we resume the contact physical program, then also you will find me having a different strategy, because change is inevitable in everyone's life. You have to always self introspect what is missing in you, so that you are getting frustrated. Um, so this will produce acetone. I'll give you a lot of examples later. Plus water. So then finally is 3-degree alcohol. 3-degree alcohol is resistant to oxidation. There is no hydrogen atom, no reaction. Supposing we have a tertiary butyl alcohol and we use the same conditions as we use for 1-degree and 2-degree, there will be no reaction. Same Jones reagent, no reaction. Because there is no hydrogen here. So water cannot be, one hydrogen from carbon, one hydrogen from, this O. So they will go as water, but there is no hydrogen here. So there is no elimination of water, and there cannot be a double bond, pi bond formation is not possible. Now, can you tell me, just guess, assess, whether this involves the breaking of the CO bond or breaking of OH bond? You can guess that. You can guess that. No, the mechanism is beyond our discussion today, but here, what happens to the CO bond doesn't break. Here, the OH bond breaks, right? And of course, if there is a CH bond, that breaks. CO bond remains, rather another bond joins to form a pi bond, and it becomes a double bond. So you must know, in this reaction, the mechanism, I will give you in my slides, but I won't discuss here. In some other time, we will take up the mechanism of oxidation and reduction, but not today, some other time. I'll show you. And I'll also teach you. Then, but, write down, but under drastic conditions. Under usual conditions, no reaction. They are resistant to oxidation. But under drastic conditions, means high temperature, high concentration of the oxidizing agent, and long time. High temperature, if required, high pressure, and high concentration of the OA, and long time. If under drastic conditions, you will try to oxidize 3-degree alcohol. 3-degree alcohol breaks down to simpler ketones and carboxylic acid. In the coming class, I will tell you a rule how to get the breakdown products. We are running short of time. That rule will consume about 15 minutes. So I will refrain myself. But I will show you what happens here. But there is a Popov rule. Popov is a very peculiar rule which is prevalent mostly in India. And of course it is there. Popov. He, with a lot of experiments, found which one will be ketone, which part will be carboxylic acid. That I will explain next time. Because in Sunday classes, we used to spend 1.5 hours at the most. And sometimes, I propose that whenever we resume, and I can foresee the resumption will be taking place sooner than later. So if that happens, I insist that on Sundays we will have the same program, online program. for inorganic chemistry. We resume after some time, we resume inorganic chemistry on those days. So one day, because that will be a problem, you know, in Sunday mornings, I usually do not get the support from my support staff sometimes. So it will be better that you remain at home in the morning, and we will do the same thing, because so far the last 2 months, I'm sorry, more than two, it is almost the end of May. We have started from even March, mid-March, 2.5 months. I do not feel that in any way my satisfaction level has deteriorated. Maybe some of you are alienated because you are not in my physical presence, but most of you are in correct line. Now, 3-degree alcohol. Supposing I give you an example: tertiary butyl alcohol under drastic conditions. Under drastic conditions, we write simply drastic oxidation. We'll give you, this is a simple one. We'll give you, this part will be converted to a ketone. You get acetone, and another part will be converted to carboxylic acid. The carboxylic acid having one carbon atom is formic acid. But you know, even with potassium permanganate, formic acid is unstable. So it takes one more oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Only when it is formic acid. But the actual product is formic acid, because formic acid is unstable under these conditions. It will form carbon dioxide and water, further oxidize. But you get a mixture of acetone, carbon dioxide, and water. So next time I will take complicated tertiary alcohols, and we will be using the pop-up rule, and I will tell you the major pair, which part will be ketone and which part will be carboxylic acid. Only formic acid will break down, but not other acids will break down. That we will discuss later. Right? So we make a conclusion box. Conclusion is 1-degree alcohol on normal Jones reagent, first aldehyde, then further oxidized to carboxylic acid. But 1-degree alcohol, same 1-degree alcohol with PCC or PDC will give you aldehyde. It's not going beyond aldehyde. It will stop at aldehyde. Then 2-degree alcohol will give you ketone. Just the opposite of a reduction by La or sodium borohydride. 3-degree alcohol, a normal process, no reaction. But, must mention, but under drastic condition. Oxidation conditions gives a mixture of simpler. It will break down, gives a mixture of simpler ketones and carboxylic acid. There can be multiple ketones. By the alpha cleavage, I'll tell you, the alpha cleavage on this side, that side, there will be multiple ketones, multiple carboxylic acids and carboxylic acids. This, you put it in a big box, that is the conclusion box. If I eat away a bit of time, allowing those who have got other coachings after 8 to go away and watch my video later to compensate the loss that we had incurred by wasteful talks, is this. The second part is fourth. This is the fourth point. First one is the acidic property, reaction with metals, hydrides. Second one is addition with HX, where the CO bond breaks. And now third one is oxidation, where OH and CH, if at all there is CH, there is no CH in 3-degree alcohols. There has to be a breaking of the OH and the CC bond, where drastic conditions are imposed in that case. So there we don't have to write CO and OH. That is a very complicated process. And this is very, very cool. Similar to this is catalytic oxidation, or we can say catalytic dehydrogenation. Removal of hydrogen is also oxidation. This is cool. This is achieved by copper and heat. Same. Let us write down the conclusion first. 1 degree alcohol with copper, heat about 300 to 200 will give you aldehyde. There is no room for further oxidation because here hydrogen gas will be produced. There is no oxidizing agent. Simply copper will remove hydrogen. And if it is 2 degree alcohol, same copper and heat will give you ketone. But in case of 3 degree alcohol, there was no reaction under normal oxidation condition, but here it will produce an alkene containing same number of carbon atoms. It will produce not breakdown, even that there's no need of any drastic conditions. Cool, copper and heat. I'm not saying cool in the real literary sense. Under normal heating condition with copper, you get alkene containing same number of carbon atoms, and out of that, the Sadzeff alkene. The more substituted alkene will be the major product. Now I'll show you one example each, so that I will be a bit happy that the major portion of alcohol, I will take 1 or 2 more classes. I don't mind. On Tuesday and even Monday, Thursday, it can extend to complete alcohols. Because once you are quite thorough in alcohols, then phenols, aromatic compound, for that you have to be thorough in electrophilic substitution, because OH group is a very strong activating group and a OP director. So the electrophilic substitution mechanism will operate, and other cases. The most dominant reaction of phenol is electrophilic substitution. But in chlorobenzene, we had both electrophilic substitution to make it disubstituted. And if you are using nucleophilic substitution, then chloride ion will go as a leaving group. And some a nucleophile will enter as the attacking group. And we have studied both the normal aromatic nucleophilic substitution and motivated by the placement of -M group in the orthopara positions, and the other way, the elimination followed by substitution type of sign substitution involving benzene intermediate. Now, 3 degree alcohol, I told you that let's take an example, say RCS2OH. You simply treat it with 1 degree alcohol. Make a heading 1 degree alcohol. So same thing will happen. There is no O here. HH will go. Simply HH will go as H2. So you get aldehyde and H2 gas. That is why it is best called as catalytic dehydrogenation. Although it is oxidation process, but normally it is called catalytic dehydrogenation. You get aldehyde. There is no chance of further oxidation. If you are taking 2 degree alcohol, then copper heat, then you are getting ketone in the same way as we are getting in Jones reagent. There it was water and here it is hydrogen, ketone. And write down here aldehyde. This is ketone. I will give examples next time during SAQ. This is ketone, but the case of 3 degree alcohol is very, very typical, particularly with this point, catalytic dehydrogenation, right? So, oh, I'm sorry. Over? Okay, good. What I was saying is, say 3-degree alcohol. I'm taking a classic example, tertiary butyl alcohol. If you use copper and heat, it will undergo, very interestingly, dehydration. In the name of dehydrogenation, here water will be removed, but no other catalyst is used. There is no such dedicated oxidizing agent is used here. The same copper that will bring about dehydration. Now see what is happening. There is a beta elimination. See what is happening. This is a beta elimination to give you isobutene. And if it's a non-symmetrical alcohol, then you get a mixture of the more substituted alkene, the Sajjef alkene, the major alkene, and the minor, the anti-Sajjef alkene. This is the only alkene produced here because tertiary butanol is a symmetrical alcohol. And NB, you write, in this case, dehydration occurs. In other two cases, dehydrogenation occurs. So here we wrote it, conclusion that we made copper that was a mistake. Here, 3-degree alcohol. Oh, we had not written 3-degree alcohol. Yes, we have written as an example. Instead of writing in a general manner, RRROH, we took an example to understand. Same thing, this is water. Make an underline here. In the earlier cases, they were hydrogen molecules. This is a water molecule. So with this, we conclude today's session. Today, I will be sending you some task for you to do during this 1.5 days. 2 days, one whole day and tomorrow. So until then, bye-bye.